Hey guys.
Ishan, there was a good discussion in the lab's text channel.
Oh,
Yeah, Nuggan put out a good document on coordinape.
oh, cool. Hey, Nuggan. Wow, this is awesome.
Thanks.
So cool. I wasn't able to comment on this doc when I opened.
Um, Nuggan, maybe you can give commenter access.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Good.
So, I had missed some discussions in the lab channel. It's really nice to see Nuggans done a very extensive review of coordinape, and it fits perfectly with what I wanted to do today. This is a really good example. I was thinking we would use today to do a sort of parallel collaborative literature review. So we would spend a bit of time at the beginning, and we can review the notes that we took last time, and we'll spend a bit of time together considering all these different directions that we could go in terms of understanding reward systems. Even like kind of outside of crypto, for example, there's all sorts of like air miles rewards with credit cards. There's like movie theater points reward systems, grocery store reward systems. In another call, Jake was just telling us he used to do drilling in the oil company, and he was saying that their neighbors drilling had a really great point system for their employees where they could get free stuff, hardware, like appliances and everything. There's tons of case studies in the world of reward systems. So I was thinking maybe we want to identify some of those. Even Bitcoin itself has a reward system embedded in it. So I think we make a big sort of master list of like all the reward systems we can think of, and then each of us is going to pick one, and we'll break off and just spend this session creating a bit of a report. And luckily we have this like master example template that we can use as inspiration that Nuggan has put together on coordinape. And I think I'll just take some time, because I don't know much about coordinape. I think I'll take some time to read this out loud to start today's session. So maybe that'll take 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll do another 5 or 10 minutes all together. We'll try to figure out as many examples of reward systems as we can think of. And then we'll all break off and do some like parallel, what I call like literature review. So I'm going to start this off. Oh, there's so much good discussion in here that I haven't read. Looks like Octopus is really active. Okay, good. He linked to the praise analysis that was done, an article on the Gini coefficient, and some other metrics. And Thomas is... oh, nice. Thomas has put a summary of last week's governance panel. A lot of info, and it's hard to summarize it all. It's on edit mode, so we can jump in here. This looks pretty cool, so let's open this up too. Awesome! Okay. So I'm gonna just read to you guys for like 10 minutes, but I do want to, before I jump right into that, I'm going to, so you remember there's always pinned messages. We have the lab's agenda, so I always recommend everyone open that up to follow along. So we have oh, I should just give everyone edit access probably to this. It's a different account that owns this. Does anyone know how to find out the owner of a document? Okay, so while I'm getting the edit access on this document on the lab's agenda squared away, does someone want to start reading Nuggans' report on coordinape?
You mean like reading it out loud, or
Yep.
just discussing it?
Let's read it out loud. So someone start off with a few paragraphs, or maybe the first. Let's do someone start with a page and then pass it over to someone else. So Nuggan, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Well, according to the Gitcoin Bank DAO report, coordinape is establishing itself as one of the primary DAO native reward allocation systems, replacing grants and salaries, and is being actively used in day-to-day payments by teams like the Yearn team, the Gitcoin DAO, or mstable. It was originally based on a Medium post by Andre Cronje and set up by the Yearn devs to distribute the revenue of the protocol, but has since then split into separate projects and is being built full-time by its own different team. Since then it seems to have found a good product market fit and is grown in the course of last year. And well, I thought it would be a good idea to look into how it works and specifically how it is different or similar to the TEC's praise system. Well, about coordinape, the too long didn't read, is just coordinape is built around circles, which is a group of DAO contributors who work together and want to distribute the funds in a decentralized way. Time is divided into epochs, which are usually between 1 week and 1 month. It started with 1 month, but they found that shorter epochs work better. And at the start of each epoch, every member of the circles gets 100 gift tokens, which he can freely give to other members of the team. At the end, each contributor's received gift tokens get transformed into get tokens, which then can be used to claim a proportional part of the allotted funds. Unspent gift tokens get burned at the end of the epoch, and you can send gift to yourself, just to other people. There is also the possibility to opt out of receiving tokens yourself for an epoch, because you're on vacation, you're receiving money for somewhere else, whatever reason, but still being able to allow to give to other contributors. Apart from this basic mechanism, there's also tooling built to help visualize the structure of the organization in real time, show the payment data transparently, and also a Discord notification bot which tells when somebody has given how much to whom. Tipping bots are being made. Source rate integration, that is actually there's a mistake. I should change that. That is cut, but they are transitioning into a DAO. And well, in their own words, DAOs solve one half of the problems decentralized networks require, defining governance. Coordinape is a DO, decentralized operations platform, that aims to solve the other half, a structure to make operational decisions within a team of contributors. If a DAO is the decentralized version of a board of directors plus shareholders, a DO is a decentralized version of the executive team plus contributors themselves. Does somebody want to take over?
Just go ahead and pass it over to someone, Nuggan, and
Okay.
if someone gets picked and you really don't want to read, that's fine. Just pass it over to someone else.
Okay, I'll pass it to Johan.
I'll do it. Can you share me the link to the doc?
Johan, if you open up the agenda, which is pinned in the labs channel.
Labs channel. Okay, bear with me, guys. I'm looking for it. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen so you guys can understand why I can't find it. Labs.
Yep,
Oh, here it is.
labs. So you can probably right there. I think you just passed it. If you go back up, from Nuggan up. I think this. Yep.
There it is. Yes.
Sweet. Okay, Megan read the first 2 pages, I
Yes,
believe.
there I am. General information. There is.
Okay, I'll start there.
Yes.
Coordinape is in alpha phase. Somebody crossed it out.
Just keep reading.
Coordinape is in alpha phase right now and being actively developed by approximately 6 people. It's being used by Urine, Gitcoin, Metacartel, Sushi Swap, MStable, Pull Together, and DAO House, amongst others. For now, it is closed source and operated off-chain, but they plan to go open source and fully on-chain on Layer 2, Phantom, Arbitrum, and Polygon around October 2021 and transition into a DAO for further development. Moving on to detailed overview of the system, liberally copied from the docs. Coordinape's core feature is the gift cycle. The gift circle. The gift circle allows a group of DAO contributors to decentralize the payment process, identifying each other's value to the organization to create a compensation map. This is done through a process of gifting. An organization can create any number of gift circles, adding members through a decentralized vouching process. During a set period of time, the epoch, the group can perform the gifting process as follows. At the start of the epoch, each member of the circle receives 100 non-divisible give tokens. Members allocate their give tokens to other members over the course of the epoch to reward them for the value they bring to the community. Members can adjust their allocations up until the end of the epoch. They can also add notes to their allocations if they wish so. At the end of the epoch, all allocated give tokens become locked, now called get tokens, and all unallocated give tokens are burned. Budget distribution is then formulated according to the percentage of total get tokens that each member of the circles has received. For example, Joe received 75 gets over the epoch from his colleagues. Total gets allocated during the epoch are 1,500. Total contributor budget is 50,000 USDC. Joe is sent 2,500 USDC, which is 5% of budget. Each user has a profile page on which they specify what they will be working on during the epoch for each of their circles. And if they want to be able to receive payment, in each circle, users can create a short list of team members with which they work closely to facilitate give allocation. Members can also leave notes to other team members, specifying exactly what they're thankful for or just as a way to give a personal message. Coordinape also provides a real-time graph to show the network movement of gives among the group, which is seen in a picture here. Okay, the vouching process. Originally, circles were created and maintained by an admin who controlled membership. the developers recently implemented a vouching process which allows for growing circles in a decentralized way. When a circle is set up, the creator can specify a vouching threshold and nomination period. From then on, any circle member can propose a new member and have other members vote on their addition. If the proposal gets enough yes votes, the new member can register and gains access to the circle. Okay, I'll pass it on to someone. Got our list here. Liam, you want to go?
Just finding the document here. Second.
Okay. Yeah, it's in the labs channel, and scroll up a bit until you know what, I'll PM you.
BK just did. BK, you're my hero.
Oh, sweet. There you go.
And the section you were starting from was planned features.
Yeah, planned features, page 4.
Awesome. The coordinate team is in the late stages of forming a DAO to continue development. They also plan to open source their code and deploy it on-chain on Ethereum Layer 2. Right now, Phantom, Polygon, and Arbitrum are planned. Roadmap is October 2021, but of course there may be delays. They're also integrating... Update, wrong, don't... They're also integrating source cred to allow prolific contributors to give more give token.
Yeah, that's wrong. I talked to them and that's wrong. You can just skip that part.
I'll skip that part, yes. Analysis. Known strengths / pitfalls. There's some feedback in articles, community calls about the strengths, pitfalls, and possible adaptations of the system. So, strengths. Feel-good factor. Many coordinate users claim to value the fact that they are getting personal appreciation and recognition more than the actual monetary reward. Real-time visualization. The real-time graph allows a transparent visualization of give allocations and shows the DAO is actually rewarding contributors in accordance to its claimed values. Now, the pain points is a learning curve. There appears to be a learning curve to the process. At the beginning, people seem to have a tendency to give more to those they are supposed to reward, for the community, instead of those to actually interact with during the epoch. In a popularity contest, echoed the previous data, people doing a lot of work in low visibility areas risk being under-rewarded. There was an example of somebody doing translations into a language and not many community members spoke that language, and who therefore were noticed and barely got rewarded. To correct that, it took a high-status member of the community to signal boost their work publicly so it could get rewarded by everyone in the next epoch. Adaptions. So team buckets. To address the point mentioned above, individuals can send give tokens to whole teams, which would then get distributed internally by the people involved in the working group. That way, somebody could just tip the meme team. Somebody could just tip the meme team without having to look up a specific creator. That tip would increase in size. The tip would increase the size of the fund bucket, which the meme makers then divide themselves using standard coordinape tool at the end of the epoch. Coordinape as community onboarding mechanisms. This is more of a specific use case. In a DAO, which has a salaried group of core members, Coordinape can be used as a way to distribute rewards to active community members. The team establishes a community fund, and paid workers join the circle, but opt out of give rewards. Then they just tip the volunteers to engage in community building during the month without an expectation of it being some kind of salary-like compensation. And on to the missing result analysis. I can pass it off to... Let's look at this channel. Manu, do you feel like reading? And I can pass it off to Livy otherwise.
You're looking at the other call.
Oh my god, you're right. Okay.
Had me confused there for a second.
Yeah, definitely. Pardon me. Okay. Austin, you're up.
Okay, so the missing results analysis. We haven't found any in-depth qualitative analysis of the distribution results over longer time frames in the style of our TEC praise gate. Perhaps the strong visualization tools allowed the protocol to do on-the-go corrections and made post-mortem unnecessary. Most probably any reports were just kept private, and if there is interest, we could eventually ask coordinate team if they have something in that department. And then there's an exponential graph here showing the first round. There's an interesting comment by the coordinate dev about the possibility of scaling somebody's allocation by how many different people he was giving to, incentivizing giving more to a broader group of participants. So differences from the TEC praise system. So one of them is the praise is unlimited, but give is not. While in the current TEC system, praise is encouraged to be given freely, coordinate sets a hard cap, 100 give per person per epoch. If epoch is short, the practical difference isn't big. 100 give per week amounts to 14.28 daily praises, but on longer time frames it could lead to thinking twice before spending a praise, which may not be desirable behavior. And there are no quantifiers. Since every user in Coordinate chooses how many tokens to send, they are in a way quantifying the praise themselves. As such, the system skips quantification by an external team completely. This can either be seen as a bug or a feature, but in any case, it removes the possibility of an additional step of cultural adjustment before payouts. One more difference is that Coordinate doesn't allow for an equivalent of the IH reduction system we had, as it only allows you to opt out of the rewards completely. There's also the feeling that adding something like that to the system would have deep repercussions in the dynamics, since suddenly your give would be worth less if given to someone specific. Keeping reductions confidential would help in that department. Future steps. You want to look for some kind of in-depth analysis by a team which has used Coordinate for a significant amount of time. And if the Coordinate team is open to collaborations and help, and this could be explored either by joining the beta or actively collaborating on their development efforts in the DAO. And other obvious overlapping synergies with the proposal inverter that could be researched. Okay, that's the end.
Hey guys, I had to take my dog out for a moment. How's it going?
We just finished.
Okay, cool. Nice. Oh, so it's too bad I missed this, but does someone want to sum up what your understanding of Coordinape is after reading this? Yep. Who is that?
That was Liam.
Awesome.
My understanding is that it allows DAOs to actually be DAOs and move their funds around, have proper reward systems, and just operate. Put it very simply.
And how does it achieve that?
Reward mechanisms, incentives, a core salary group.
Yeah, I think also an important thing is that it's from a bottom-up way. So every member who's working with people just sees who am I spending my time with, who's doing the work I'm using, and in that way, kind of the allocation emerges from the bottom up instead of having a group saying, okay, these 5 people are getting this much, these are getting this much, and so on.
So it's a naturally decentralized, like intra-decentralized. Like decentralization we can see through DAOs and all this stuff and network dynamics, but this is like even inside of a single network, it decentralizes within that network the distribution of rewards.
Yes, inside of the closed working circle, you can make circles more closed or more open, and depending on what you want. But yes.
And so let me see if I get this right. So everyone is in the DAO is given this. Is it the same amount of give tokens as everyone else?
Yes, it's always 100. It's like a percentage, 100%, and you can just divide it, or you can just spend half of it if you feel like that.
And how is it divided?
Every person just chooses how much to give to who they want. You can't give half a gift token. You have to get a whole number, but you can give 5 to one, 10 to someone else. You can give several times one for small actions during the week, just as you choose. And at the end of the week, it all gets counted together.
Ah, okay. Ah, this is actually very similar to praise, isn't it?
Yes, it definitely is. The main difference is that you have a limited number. Like you have 100% to share, and praise is just you can praise as much as you want to anybody. And also that it's kind of that's what Christopher said in the labs. It's more like thought for small working groups. Like we have people working together, and we're gonna see how much work everybody does. And praise is more like open and for people who are just maybe not collaborating that much, or just show up and you praise them because they said something nice or just were there. So it's kind of a different perspective, but it has a lot of similarities. Yes.
Okay, so what is the chart here?
That chart is the distribution in the bankless DAO. They used coordinape for a while, and the points are how much praise the people got. And you can see there are 4 outliers, and the rest follow pretty exactly this curve they made, which wasn't planned.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Huh. That is a tight fit.
Yes. Actually, if you follow the link, there's the data set also. They link it on the forum there.
Cool.
So you can play with it if you want.
Wow, this is really cool. I didn't realize that bankless it's kind of operating as a DAO. That's really interesting.
Yeah, they started recently. I don't know, a couple of months ago, I think.
Wow, powerful stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly, because I missed it, I'm just gonna check out this. Oh yeah, so yeah, praise is unlimited and give isn't. Okay, that makes total sense. And in coordinape, you don't need any quantifiers, since every user chooses how many tokens to send. They are in a way quantifying the praise themselves. The system skips quantification by an external team completely, which sounds nice. I mean, that just okay, let's see. This can either be seen as a bug or as a feature, but in any case it removes the possibility of an additional step of cultural adjustment before payouts happen. So I feel like Coordinape puts more trust into the community, because it's saying the cultural adjustment happens at the giving layer. Like every single person is determining what sort of culture they want to reinforce by the decisions that they make on who they give their give tokens to and how many. So this sounds pretty appealing to me. Although perhaps we could expand this. Maybe what else is there? Something else that Praise has that Coordinape doesn't have?
I think what Livia said in the meeting yesterday, or was it the day before? No, yesterday. That that Praise is just designed to be really open, so you can just praise anybody who shows up. Like if they're a member of the Discord, they can be praised. And Coordinape is more like geared towards, we have this team of 5 people, and how do we divide the funds amongst us? While praise is more like, for everybody.
Yeah, I think there's an intrinsic value in praise. Even if there were no tokens involved and there were no like quantitative rewards involved, it's way more of a cultural thing, because you could still just be praising everyone. I mean, like at the community call on Thursdays, even if we weren't making any sort of tokens or anything, it would actually still be a good practice to have 20 minutes of praise, just because it gives everyone a chance to be seen and to recognize others, and it's sort of like a decentralized community updates process. And so what I'm seeing is that Coordinape is very quantitative. It's a token system. You get tokens, or you have tokens that you give to represent the work that other people have done, or the contributions, or just to recognize people in the community. But that's all quantitative, and there's no qualitative aspect to it. Whereas in Praise is essentially like if you have Coordinate and you have these tokens that you give, but for every time you give a token in the Praise system, you're actually required to like qualify, because you have to say something. You have to say, I praise this person for this, for X, for Y, for Z. And so it creates actually a richer data set that can be mined of like, because we now have this ever growing data set in the TEC of what people appreciate and what people are praising and why. It adds this language component to it, whereas in Coordinape it wouldn't have that. It's just numbers in a system. It's a network. So
not only you can add a node. That's part of the feature. You're not required to, but you can. And the devs and some community code said that more or less 50% of the Coordinate gifts come with some kind of personal note, even if it's just thank you for whatever.
Really interesting.
But yeah, it's not at the core in the way that it is with praise, of course.
Okay, so it says here, the Coordinape team seems very open to collaboration or help. Maybe this could be explored either by joining the beta or even actively collaborating on their development efforts or DAO. So how do we access their DAO? Do they have a Discord server or?
Yes. They have a Discord server. They aren't a DAO yet. They want to, like, their roadmap is October, more or less. I don't have the link there. I can put it in.
Sure.
But yes, they're planning to make a DAO out of it.
It looks like these resources are really good, these references here. So definitely recommend that everyone go through these. I plan on going through these myself.
Yeah, the 5-minute video is actually very nice, because you can see he has the app open, so you can see how he moves the stuff and how visual, like it's very visual.
Very cool. Okay, so some homework for everyone. Check out the references here. I think it's worth. We're kind of just doing a review session today, and This looks really useful too. I wonder if so Thomas, I think we should go through this.
Sure. So I think because I tried to summarize like everything that's been said, and it's like a mixture out of literally what they said. So how I made the summary is I took the transcript from YouTube and then amended it, tried to summarize it down. But maybe what's useful is at the very end I put like some chat questions and maybe the panel questions. I think that would be already quite helpful to maybe guide the whole process. And at the very bottom there's also the resources that were mentioned during the course. So maybe that's more helpful. Then I'm not sure. Like we could read it, but I think it will take quite a while. It's like I don't know how long it is actually.
Okay, let's do this in a distributed sense then. Can everyone open up this document? So I have linked it in the agenda, and the agenda is always pinned. And you can also just find this from Thomas in the labs channel. So let's go through each panel question one by one, and everyone just pick someone's response and read through it in your head, and then we'll have a quick discussion on that panel question. So there's 1, 2, 3, maybe we're missing 3 unless it's just not bold. So we have 4 and then 5 and then 6, 7, 8 and okay. So let's see if we can take 15 minutes or so to go through this. Okay, the Governance Research Group hosted on the 10th of September a panel session on the reward systems. We collated some summarized and collated the research notes that arose in this discussion. You can find the recording here and the raw chat reference here. Cool. So, a lot of challenges arise when we attempt to quantify things. How can we transfer subjective data to objective data? How do we find the right metrics for the things that we're measuring, and can those metrics tell us something about the health of the ecosystem? So panel question 1 was, what are the biggest questions that you see with either with reward systems in general or with the reward systems that you work with? Okay, so I want everyone to just, I wonder if we should, I think what we're going to do is actually write some stuff down. So I'm going to open up,
We maybe could also highlight in the text what is really important.
yeah, let's do that.
I'm not sure if that's easier, actually.
Let's do that.
That would rate the document, which is quite cool.
And is this is editable, right?
Yes, like, or also please feel free like to edit, because I'm sure like that some of the sentences are like a little bit
Cool.
wonky. So
Okay, so everyone just pick one of these answers, maybe randomly, maybe not randomly. Pick an answer, a response from someone, read through it, and try to highlight something that you think is significant. And feel free to edit it as you go if you can, if there's some grammar or context or misspelling or sentences can be improved a little bit. Feel free to edit it. So we'll take like 3 minutes on this one.
Did you write all this by yourself, Thomas? This is amazing.
no, like I mean, what I did is I took the transcript from YouTube, from the YouTube video, and I kind of went by this. A lot of what is said is like in part literal. Sometimes I just broke it down a little bit, so there might be like some parts missing, but in general it's like mixture out of trying to break it down or like summarize it and YouTube chat comment, or like not YouTube chat, not chat, like the transcript one. I don't know if you know what I mean, but
Yes. Yeah. Great, good, cool idea. Great. Really cool.
Bright ID launch party. Also, I just found out that coordinape to do big things.
It got quiet and I got really confused in my autism.
Hey, we're just going through the this document that Thomas provided, which is a review of last week's panel. So we're all just kind of bolding some stuff and reading through. Pick one response to the question and read through it and bold some things that stick out for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so you can keep going a little bit, but I'm going to read out mine. So I jumped onto Zach, and the very opening of it kind of describes what he sees as the biggest challenge, which he says is unpredictability of people. So it sounds like what maybe has happened in his experience is like you design a reward system with the intention of getting people to achieve a certain task or behave a certain way, and the results are not what were expected, so it's unpredictable results and people are unpredictable. So I think that's important to consider, and it would be nice to see the case studies of actually the different praise systems and what has unfolded, or the different reward systems. So, you know, what was unexpected about using praise, what was unexpected about using coordinape, and etc., etc. So that might be a good topic of research going forward. And then he talks about making design choices, and the intersubjectivity. So people having different perspectives on a topic. This is the part where I think the qualitative aspect is really useful, because numbers and quantitative results do not have any subjectivity. They are just numbers. They're the same to everyone. But in reality, they're reflecting different opinions of different people, and so that leads to this last thing I bolded, or this in this paragraph, which is aligning opinions. So it seems like this makes me think that a lot of work maybe has to be done outside of the reward system. Like, it doesn't matter what reward system you have, but in order for it to be successful, you probably have to take time to have people align on their opinions and be on the same page and share their perspectives and their values and come to alignment. If people are in alignment, then the rewards should be in alignment. And then the last piece here in the next paragraph is feedback loops, enabling reflection. So that's something I've heard Dr. Zargum say a million times, and I think it's probably one of the most important things in a DAO is having these feedback loops where things can be improved based on reflection. And so yeah. Anyone else want to read, go over theirs?
I can go. I mean, began with like the first panel question and took Hamad or MetaDreamer, and he talks about that the objective function of truth is important, or like what makes up the truth. He says that the consensus is like reaching consensus of how value should be distributed and how much each person should get is easy in small groups, but it's not the same on larger ones. He also mentions that there's like to scale this intersubjectivity. So what he means by this is like the opinions, I suppose, of each individual contributor of how would everyone else should get of this contributor group. Like to scale this, like this intersubjectivity, one needs like you need a mechanism to capture these different decisions, and he refers to coordinape doing a good job because they pushed out, like as we mentioned as well, pushed out the decision making to the individuals, which then from the bottom up kind of reward the inner circle, which then creates like this subjective opinion. And Hamad believes that the pushing these decisions to the edges and quantifying them and then lifting them out again with running algorithms allows us maybe to generalize patterns that we can start to explore more to like which would allow like generalizing these patterns maybe would allow us to look at different communities and maybe also transfer like reputation across communities. I think this was what the long quote here we should have highlighted is about.
Awesome, thanks for that. There's probably lots of other good points that people have found. Let's move on to the next one. So, question 2 was, do you think there is a way to move away from manipulative nature of the systems, balancing intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation? This is really a cool question. So not like pulling, not like a carrot on a stick, but rather enabling the intrinsic motivations that people have to drive them. So just everyone go ahead and pick a different response and build a few things that stand out for you.
I found a very interesting part about when there isn't the immediate threat of being fired, sometimes that can lead to slacking. And obviously not in all cases, but what Zach illustrated in one of his responses was a way of staking one's own tokens into like, hey, I'm going to get this project done by next week. And say I hit the deadline, cool, I get the stuff rewarded. Say there's someone else who didn't hit their deadline. Then what happens is that person's stake would go to me as someone who did their work, or vice versa. If I miss my deadline and I put my stake in, I get a little bit less, but some of it would get burned and rewarded as a bonus to people who got their work done. So it's almost like a kind of a Robin Hood effect in there, and that's both burning it from both ends, so to speak. It's incentive and it's kind of lighting the fire under the person as well. So I found that really interesting.
It makes me think of like there's probably different types of organizations that want to have different cultures and different work environments. Because you could imagine a spectrum where on one end you have like some sort of extremely high performing like elite squad of, you know, super, and you see this in the traditional world with, for example, the big five consulting agencies or whatever, you know, they or like Goldman Sachs in the world of finance, but they kind of only hire the top of the top performers out of universities, and then they have an extremely competitive work environment where, you know, only 10% of their interns end up getting full-time jobs, and it's cutthroat all the way to the top, and it's like producing these like hyper elite, you like work at all costs, you know, dedicate your life to the firm kind of organizations. And maybe there's some DAOs that would want to operate that way, and because there's synergy and value in having shared norms. If everyone on your team knows that it's like a hyper elite, high performance team, then you're going to be able to count on every single person on that team, and you're going to have your expectations that you know are going to be met, and there's probably some people that would be into that. On the other end of the spectrum, there's probably some organizations, in fact, this would be a lot more common in DAOs, where it's really like participation is appreciated. So anyone just joining and hanging out and reading the forum or joining calls is rewarded, right? Because it's like a participatory, maybe it's called like extreme inclusivity or something. These are kind of two opposite ends of the spectrum. So this just made me think that way, because the sort of Robin Hood style is like a very competitive environment, which could foster, people might really enjoy that. It might bring the best out of them, and it might offer the best people who can get the most work done to get paid the most, and it creates kind of a feedback loop on production. But it might not be perfect for environments where you want to kind of reward people for at least, you know, trying and learning, and the sort of educational aspect of DAOs. So that's interesting.
Maybe to just add on that, because I'm not sure if I represented it fairly, maybe in my summary, maybe I messed up there, but from what I remember, at least from the callers, it was about setting your own goal. Though you kind of say, okay, to the community, I want to do X, Y, Z, and I'm going to do it by then and then. And to kind of show that I'm really going to do this, I'm going to stake on myself, saying I'm going to stake X amount of tokens, right? And then if you achieve it, you get like the reward that was specified, and obviously your stake back. And if not, then your stake gets burned and distributed to other people. But I feel like by saying, like making it a voluntary action, by someone going in and saying, oh look, I'm going to do this, and this is how serious I am about it. I'm not sure if it necessarily fosters production, because you setting the goal. So it's like, I don't know, like, but yeah, just as a nuance, because I honestly don't want to misrepresent anyone. Like, it's really scary actually to summarize things. Yes.
So that's a good point. So and it kind of ties into what we heard Zach, I think, say in the first case, in that unexpected results, right? So, and this is famous for all sorts of systems design, is where you engineer it for one thing and you get the complete opposite result. So if you're right, if people are defining their own tasks and then getting paid if they fulfill them, then maybe people can start defining really small and simple tasks. The gamification is always an aspect, and having game theorists and modelers is good for that, to try to flesh out, sleuth out those corner cases. Does anyone else have a section from this question 2 that they want to read out?
I think what Griff says about is also very interesting, because he says that, in the ideal world, money is a way to kind of, he calls it happiness points. Like, you reward somebody with how much joy, how much production, what about the good thing he does, and every reward system is going to be a game of scoping the activity to something. And then he says that it's important to design the scope in a way that it is clear to everyone exactly what they are measuring and rewarding, because it's an abstraction of real life, actually, and it's something different. So you have to define it very clearly, so every participant choose to play or not to play, knowing if the scope is something which works for him or doesn't, which I think is also an important point.
Yeah, scoping is key. Yep. And it kind of comes into I forget what it was exactly from the previous question, but the idea of alignment. So, you can't just you have a group of people and throw a reward system at them and expect to get the results that you want. Definitely you need this sort of alignment, cultural alignment, and the scope of, like, what do we want. Oh yeah, I remember in the panel someone said, like, isn't there a risk of creating self-fulfilling prophecies? And Griff was like, well, that's the whole point. We want self-fulfilling prophecies, as long as we know what we're prophesizing and we get to have some control over that and we get to do some design over that. And so I think that's the scoping process. Austin, I see you're putting in some comments there. Do you want to go over something?
Sure. So this kind of goes back to what we were saying about creating your own goals. And someone from chat, Nikolai, was saying that you want to search for what motivates them to achieve something and what success looks like for them. But also, it's like you have to make sure that they know, they recognize what they achieved for what they wanted to reach, right? So it's like making sure they know they got the reward for something that they did, and actually correlating those two very clearly. At the bottom here, and Natalia was saying the importance of cultures within systems, and culture being supportive of humans actually discovering what they want. So the idea that a lot of times communities don't know what they want at first, and we have to be flexible and transparent about how that might change as we learn about what incentivizes us.
Yeah, it kind of ties into the feedback loop idea. The more transparency we have as we go, and the more alignment and sort of synchronization and sharing that we have, the more we can refine the goals, because it's kind of like a moving target. I mean, we build the reward system because we scope it, like Griff said, and we want to achieve some goals, and the whole system starts moving and people start acting and rewards start being distributed. But I think it's important to have the transparency and to come back to the realignment. I just see it as like a vector in a space, very sort of mathematical concept, or like a rocket ship, right? You're trying to land on the moon, and at every point in time you have some sort of trajectory on that ship, and you might have to readjust it, you might have to tweak your math a little bit, you might have to correct your systems a little bit in order to keep moving towards the moon. And there might be pit stops along the way. Maybe you have to stop at the International Space Station for refueling or something like that. So it's kind of a moving target. So the feedback loops are really important, and that's a beautiful concept because we can design those into our systems as engineers. So that's the top of the hour, guys. I recommend everyone to just continue. It's kind of like homework for the week. Go through this doc and pick out a few more paragraphs that you want to read through and add some comments and fix up. And if we all do just a couple paragraphs, then probably we'll make through the whole doc. And I think next week, now that we'll all be having a kind of foundation understanding of what's on people's minds in the world of rewards. I think we'll open up a Miro board and just like brainstorm and mind map a lot of these concepts, and then we can start to see all the concepts and how we want to map them, and sort of what would the optimal reward system be, or what are some sort of design challenges that we can start to sketch out that we can work on through the labs and through these research groups. And on that note, I just want to thank everyone for joining and hope everyone has a really awesome weekend.
Great, thanks. As we get
Thanks a lot. Bye, everyone. See you guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.